Brilliant. It's another episode 3, if we're going with episodes of the Big Author Sleepover. Tonight, it's not an author. We've got it's Keith De Winter, Star Wars actor, creature actor, absolute legend. Really, really nice guy. Keith, tell us a bit about yourself, man.
I was waiting for the round of applause then. Please stop. No, don't stop. I'm Keith De Winter, and I'm more known for appearing in Star Wars: The Force Awakens and Star Wars: The Last Jedi. A lot of the fan base know me as Ghost Tours, who appeared in both of those films, but I did play a couple of other creatures as well alongside those. What other films have I done? I've done the most recent one that I did that came out at the beginning of the year was in Antman and the Wasp: Quantumania, and I was in that very briefly.
Really cool. I've still not seen it.
Yeah,
but yeah, really cool.
It's good.
And are you also you're in a horror movie, like a little? Is that I spoke to you about before at an event we were at?
I did.
Is that out yet?
There's a platform called I think it's called Reveal, or I can't remember what it's called now, and apparently it's on there. And this is something that I made a few years ago, and the guy that made it, it's taken him years to do this film. So in the end, because of running out of money and because of COVID and everything, him and this other guy decided to chop it up into a little series, and they've changed the title many times. And so I kind of did watch it, and it's really cheap and really low budget.
You're like a scientist, is that right?
That's right. I just play a scientist in it, but it's only crike. I think it's about a few. It feels like a couple of minutes, long. But this thing that's taken years to actually be seen.
Yeah.
And I did get to see it, and it's okay. It does it does the job what he wants. That's kind of it. And the only other, it's really weird, the fact that I love horror, because everything that I've done to do with acting has all been comedy.
Comedy,
pure comedy. And I'm not sure why that is. I think it was because I found it easy to make people laugh, even though I think people were scared of this face, and they kind of get this face. But I kind of love making people laugh. And we were talking briefly about Lauren Hardy and Abbott and Costello. Well, those are the kind of heroes that I grew up with, watching with my mum and dad and my brothers. So, and that's kind of why I wanted to become an actor, because I found that I could make people laugh, and there's a great feeling of making people laugh. So that was kind of the direction that the path that I wanted to go on.
It's empowering, isn't it? I've made people laugh a couple of times, but it's an empowering feeling, isn't it?
It is. It's great because let's face it. There's enough horror and enough sadness in this world, and people want to be able to to forget that.
Definitely.
And that's kind of why I love film. Right. And what film should be? Film basically should be all about escapism. You go to the cinema, or you're at home and you're watching something, and for that 2 hours or however long it's on, you should be able to escape from that world. And then when
whatever's happening in your life, whatever's happening, it's gone, and you're just in the film.
Yeah, obviously it's all still there, but it's a way of escaping, reality. And so the problem with a lot of films these days, especially horror, which we'll no doubt we'll get onto, is the two. I don't know what it is. They're trying to be too clever for themselves, and it doesn't work.
I get that.
Especially
popcorn
Yeah.
film. I call them popcorn
Yeah.
films, where you can just take the top off your head, fill it with popcorn, and just sit and watch it, and just enjoy it.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of people seem. I think in horror sometimes now a lot of people seem too scared to have fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I
Well,
think fun and horror go together. You know what I mean? For me.
oh, without a doubt. Without, I mean, you look at just picking a film off the top of my head, Shaun of the Dead, which it's not an eighties film. It's it's a lot later than that. But
yeah,
the balance that they've got on that was amazing with with comedy and with horror, and they just got that balance right.
Yeah,
very tongue in cheek, and that's what I love about that film. And I've seen that film so many times.
She's one of the. I'm like that with Hot Fuzz, which I consider a horror because there's a slasher, woman gets sheared through the face. Hot Fuzz again, obviously it's the same director, same cast, isn't it? Pretty much.
Yeah.
And again,
yeah.
I just watch it because they're having. You can tell they're having fun.
Yeah, exactly.
Having fun, and you're having fun then because they're having fun. Yeah, but
and
no, I agree.
That's what it should be. And the problem with horror of late is I find that they tend to be they're trying to be real. And so where's that escapism if you're watching a film, a horror film? I'm not saying there's anything wrong with them, but it's just that I think they're trying to be too real. So you're watching, you've got what's going on in the world, whatever's in your life. You want escapism, but you can't have it because it's there. You're watching it. You want something that's going to give you a couple of hours break away from everything, and where you can have that bit of fun or a little bit of a scare, or maybe you're into musicals and things. But I mean, obviously, we talk about horror, but for me, when I watch some of the latest horror films, the last few years, and again, it's the effects side of things because I'm big on practical effects, and a lot of the films tend to be with CGI. Some are good, but some just don't get that balance right. They're not really to the practical side of it, but they're still trying to be real. And I get it because they want that scare. They want to give people the shocks. But
I like the old practical. I really do. And even though sometimes it can look really bad, Hobgoblins. I spoke to you before. Hobgoblins is like
which,
I
watched
have you
it.
not seen it?
I watched the first.
Have you seen it now?
Yeah, crazy.
It's so bad, but it's so good. And I love about it. You had Gremlins, Critters, Munchies, I think, come out at the same time. A few films like that. And then Hobgoblins kind of slipped under the radar. And what I love most about it is, I think I said to you, the puppeteer, I think, had been released from insane asylum, probably not the right word, an institution, a couple of days before filming. And I don't know why I like that, with the puppets talking to them, I like that they've got, I'm going to say an insane puppeteer, but it's such a funny film.
Yeah,
I've not seen the sequel.
I've not seen the sequel. I know. I think I will maybe try watch one of them. I think they did a couple of sequels, but I mean, you look at film. I mean, we've spoken about 80s horror films, and I'm for some reason the 80s just really jump out at me for horror because again, it's that mixed bag, and not only that, the 80s are renowned for the amount of films that got banned. When they came on video, when we had the big video boom. So you've got the video nasties lists, and half of those films that are on there that were on there, they were terrible anyway. They were just awful.
But there was things on there that it wasn't so much for the horror. It was like I know. Southern Comfort wasn't really it was kind of not a horror film as such, but that was because a pig gets sliced open in a scene, and there's what's the cannibal film with a turtle? They kill a turtle.
It's the Cannibal Holocaust, that one.
That was because of that, I believe, wasn't it? They banned it because of that.
Because they've got animal cruelty in it.
Yeah.
You know, we know which obviously is awful, but again, there are a lot of other films that are around there that just utilize all these practical effects. And don't forget, a lot of these effects as well, they were making them up as they went along because there was no handbook and going, how do you make this? How do you do that?
Yeah.
One of the great special effects guys, Tom Savini, who did he's just amazing. And he again, for when they made Dawn of the Dead, he said in an interview that when they were doing that, they were making things up as they went along. George Romero wanted something, and he would say, "Okay," and he would work the practicalities.
That's really cool.
Making this effect work.
Really cool.
Yeah.
What's your favorite kills in a film? Practical kills. Have you got any favorite? What's your favorite kills? Well, I did a couple last night. No, in a film, obviously.
Again, I mean, obviously, Dawn of the Dead is a late 70s film. But one of the things that I love about that is the helicopter with the zombie and it chops his head off. And that amazing. Is just, it's an amazing effect. And just how dangerous was that? To do that actually with, a helicopter blade. Crazy. But there's another film. What's yours?
Sorry, I would imagine you've seen Prowler.
Yes,
I think. Yeah,
oh, and I nearly brought it down to show. But yeah, I remember that when it was at the cinema, and it was called Rosemary's Killer.
That's right. Yeah, different name. Yeah. There's the two kills in that I think they're fairly close in the film as well. The bayonet through the top of the head.
Oh God, yeah.
And when he pulls the bayonet out, his eyes roll white.
Yeah,
his eyes go up, and the pitchfork in the shower, which is good for. There's a couple of reasons why that's good, but the pitchfork, the lass is in the shower, and she gets pitchfork. How they did that, I don't know, but it's just brilliant.
Yeah, because you watch it and you rewatch it and you go, you're trying to figure out how they did it. Another one is again, it's not labeled as a horror film. I don't think of it as a horror film, but it's Scanners.
Right. Scanners. See, that's a horror for me. Sci-fi horror.
I remember. I don't label it as a full-on horror, but I remember when I watched that in the cinema, and I knew a lot about the film before it came out. And I remember watching it, and so I knew a lot about the exploding head, what happened. And again, that was a live practical effect that they did on set.
Was it really?
It was, live practical effect they did on set, and they didn't tell everybody that they were doing that. And so obviously some people, reacted quite bad.
Is that true? Have you ever heard the story Alien, when they did that in Alien? That not everyone, they didn't know what was going to come out of John Hurt. And
that's right, yeah.
It's the woman, not Sigourney Weaver, the other woman who should be shot for not remembering her name, was like almost passing out because that shock on their faces is real.
It's real, yeah, it's real because the amount of blood that's splattered and everything that goes on.
Yeah.
The look, that's what Ridley Scott wanted. But yeah, that.
And it was just John Hurt. Obviously, the crew knew, but I think it was just John Hurt and Ridley Scott knew what was about to. In terms of coming out, that's brilliant.
Up he popped. Yeah.
Amazing film, which I'd only seen within the past year for the first time. Yeah, I've seen the scene.
Wow.
Yeah, I've seen the scene a million times, but I've only actually watched the full Alien within the past year. It never appealed to me at all, despite that.
Well, I don't
know why.
I saw that at the cinema when it came out, Alien. And again, I think I appreciated it more years later because it's quite a slow build. The film. So I think I was probably a bit too young to realise that. Whereas now it's a classic. The same goes for The Shining. Yeah. The Shining is, oh my God, what a brilliant film that is.
First time I watched that, didn't like it. I was like, oh, this is slow. But when I got older, yeah, just blew my mind. Really good.
Yeah.
Really good.
Just love it.
You're the same as me, I believe. It's like mid to late 80s, I think, isn't it? Or around, you like all that kind of.
Yeah, I do. I mean, don't get me wrong. There were films in every decade.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That are like, of course there is, but it's just the 80s. It's it was almost like this time period, this decade where they just horror was just massive. I mean, there's lots of other films, but horror was just so big. And again, like I say, with practical effects, and they were just churning them out. And I think it's all because of the video industry that we had.
Yeah. Do you think also it plays a part, because we're kind of the same age, I think. I think either I'm a couple of years older than you, or you're a couple of years older than me. Roughly.
Yeah, well, I'm 33.
Well, yeah. Well, I'm 35, so they're just slightly older. Yeah. Do you think it's our age at the time as well?
Yeah.
I think that probably plays a part, where we were like early teens, and we were, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I used to, again, because a lot of these films I did watch on video. And I remember going to the video shop to get them, and it was always horror. In fact, the very first, when we got our first video recorder,
VHS or Betamax?
VHS, it was.
Right.
Because we got it when VHS was actually obviously the winning format. Even though Betamax was there, and Betamax was more expensive to buy the players, so which is why we got the Sharp video recorder that we got, and I'm so geeky. I remember the model number and everything, and it was remote control as well, with on a wire.
Oh man, I was the remote control.
I could sit here and pause it and everything. It was great, So
brilliant, man.
But I remember the very first we got the video. I went to the video shop where we got the video recorder from, and the first film I rented was Superman the movie, and Zombie Flesh Eaters.
That's a double bill, that is.
Yeah, and
brilliant.
Crikey, and it was, and that was the very first time I'd seen Zombie Flesh Eaters as well.
Right,
great film. And it was uncut. It was uncut. It had everything in it.
It was all part of the thing. Sorry, part of the thing for me back then, because my dad, and it's weird, but I'm thinking of my dad at the time. My dad must have only been in his mid-20s, because I must have been like about 5. And weird thinking of my dad younger than I am, sort of. But my dad used to take me to the video shop, and it would just be wall to wall, and that in itself was sometimes as good as watching the film. There was a vibe in the old video stores. I don't know if you ever felt that. It was just like we would spend hours there. You know what I mean?
God, yeah. Exactly. You would go and you would just ages just looking at picking every single video up and looking at it and then putting it back and then going back round again, and just loved it. And then, did you ever have the video delivery service?
We did, yeah. Yes, a guy in a van used to come around selling cakes and crisps and videos.
Yeah. We had this guy come with the video, and he used to rent a couple of videos for a couple of quid, and you had them for a few days. And it was like, oh God, we can watch these over and over and over. And again, he had lots of horror films and lots of naughty films.
Yeah. My dad would go. Yeah. My dad would go when the videos turn up. No one touch the bag they're in. I'll sort them out when I get in. Why, Dad? Let me just don't touch a bag. Don't touch a bag. I'll sort. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I remember
the furry honeypot adventure. What's that? The Care Bears, obviously.
Yeah, I remember saying to this guy that came, went out to his van, and we're picking a couple of films. And I remember saying to him, going, have you got anything naughty? And what have you? And he went, yeah, I've got that film. And I went, no. I went, really naughty. So he went, hang on a minute, lifted up something, lifted up a box and went underneath and went, yeah, that's good enough. And that was my first introduction into hardcore porn, if you like. Yeah. But
brilliant, man.
Crazy. But again,
what is your favourite horror? We've spoken about this before. I've probably got it wrong. All-time favourite horror?
The all-time favourite one is Dawn of the Dead. Always will be. Because that, again, seeing that at the cinema and just watching this group of people, but because the thing is, it just starts off, it's the apocalypse has happened, yeah, everything's going on. You're like, what is this film? And then all unfolds, and the fact that they go to this shopping centre and they barricade themselves in there, they get rid of all these zombies, to barricade themselves in. I thought, oh my God, I want to do that. And if anything, I kept thinking,
well, if it ever happens now, everyone's going to supermarkets because of these films.
Yeah.
That's where everyone's going. You know what I mean?
Yeah. We're so competent to barricade ourselves in. Yeah.
Did you like the remake?
I was thinking about this earlier on, and I wondered if you'd asked me about this. And I did, but it took me a while to get used to it because, again, you've got these, fast zombies. They're not zombies, are they? They're not in the same mold because
not in the traditional, no.
And it's weird because we try to think of it logically and go, hang on, if they were dead, they wouldn't be able to run like that with that energy. They wouldn't be able to do it. And I think that's why Simon Pegg, when he made they made Shaun of the Dead, Edgar Wright, is that they made sure that their zombies were true to what they'd grown up.
The traditional.
And I know because when they made 28 Days Later, which again is a cracking film.
It's not zombies for me.
But they're not. For me, they're not zombies.
They're not zombies. I'll have this argument with everyone. They're just infected people. They're still alive, aren't they?
Yeah,
they're still alive. They're trying to starve them, aren't they?
Exactly, because again, George Romero made The Crazies, and that's what they were like. They were similar to the zombies in the remake, in that kind of they were.
I actually really like the 2010 remake of that with Timothy Olyphant. That's a remake that I really do get on board with. A really good film.
Yeah.
But they're not zombies. You know what I mean?
But they're not zombies. So, what's your favourite horror?
My favourite horror is, I always say Nightbreed because I just love the story, the concept behind Nightbreed.
Yeah.
You've got the monsters are the good guys, and the police, the church, and the psychologists, whatever, are the bad guys. Which I believe was Clive Barker's way of, because he's gay, isn't he? It's his way of. It was all about you're looking at people and you're saying they're bad, and they're not. We're just different. You know what I mean? It's just told me we've got about 10 minutes left, but that's cool. So I really like Nightbreed and the morals behind it. It's an amazing film. But I'm going to have to say Psycho 2, probably.
Oh my God, I love Psycho 2.
No way. I love it, man. It's really, really cool. Yeah, it blows my mind.
Yeah, we watched it. Was it? I think it might have been definitely in the last 12 months because Gail had never seen it. My wife had never seen Psycho 2. She likes older horror. She's into more.
Fair one.
She doesn't like gore. She doesn't like a lot of the 80s films I like are gory, but she doesn't like them. But Psycho 2, she liked that. Yeah, she did, and it's a great film.
The scene, the final scene in the kitchen, is just.
It comes out of nowhere. It just comes out of nowhere.
And she's just sitting drinking. Yeah, what? And I'm like, what? And Meg Tilly's quite distracting in that. Quite like Meg Tilly in that. She didn't do as much as I thought she would. Is it Meg Tilly or Jennifer Tilly? Meg Tilly.
Meg Tilly, yeah.
Meg Tilly. Yeah, I
Jennifer
prefer her.
Tilly, she's the one that did the Chucky films.
Chucky, that's right. Meg Tilly, yeah, she's in that. And I just love everything about Psycho 2. I can't, because he's just paranoia and he's like, everything about it just blows my mind.
Yeah,
Uh,
and because you with him, you want him, you're with him all the way. You're like,
yeah.
leave him alone. He's a good man. And then when he does
It's
what he does, we're still like,
you're still, yeah. It's weird. He's one of those protagonists. I'm not sure which one it is. Antagonist, the villain that you root for. You kind of, and when you can do that, I think when you, I don't know if it's Hitchcock that wrote the second one. When you can do that and you can show it as it's happening, but still like Devil's Rejects. Yeah, I mean, if you watch House of a Thousand Corpses, the family in that in the first film, yeah, I don't know if you've seen the films. The family in that, Bill Mosey said, "Hey, you hate them because they're absolutely awful." But somehow in the second film, despite it starting and then killing the two couples and all that lot, and you know they're monsters, somehow you end up and you suddenly the police are the bad guys, and you end up rooting for them. Oh, you know, and that's clever. And I know people knock Rob Zombie. I love Rob Zombie films, but yeah, that's clever. You know, if you can do that, I think.
Yeah, I think it's that thing again, isn't it? That the with us liking these horror icons like Freddy Krueger, in particular, when you first know why he got killed, the character.
I've never liked Krueger.
Right, but the thing is, but throughout, people have become to love you. Like, hang on a minute, do you not remember why they did what they did? This family, what he did.
He's like, he was like a child abuser, wasn't he?
He was a paedophile. Yeah,
he's a crispy nonce. Basically, he's just like, and I really don't like the character. And yeah, but who's your favourite horror icon, horror villain type? If you have a favourite.
I would say Jason.
Jason. So you would prefer Jason films over Halloween, would you? Is that your?
Yeah, because I think that it's a shame because I mean, I love Halloween and I do love Michael Myers, but the problem is that with the Michael Myers, the direction that they took the character, and even though you're wanting to, if you like, enjoy watching Michael, this villain.
Yeah,
it wasn't, but it's not. It didn't become, but it wasn't believable. I'm not saying Jason's believable.
No, I know what you mean.
At least we had somewhere, to start, with Jason.
Yeah.
Right from when he appears in Friday the 13th Part 2.
Yeah.
We only know that because of the end of Part 1 when he pops up. That scare.
We'll crap us.
And we still don't really know, anything about him. And we want to do, but the fact that he's this unstoppable force, and there's been obviously, but as the films got on and towards the the last couple and what they became a bit ridiculous. But if anything, they were showing how powerful he was as a villain, and people want more from him.
Really, yeah, no, I agree.
And I would like them to. I thought when they remade Friday the 13th. But obviously it was set. It wasn't a remake because they had the hockey mask and everything.
Yeah.
But it was kind of a reboot, but I don't know in what vein. But again, the balance wasn't right because it was too serious.
No, I get that completely. I didn't enjoy it too.
And I didn't, and I wanted to, and I thought this is terrible. I thought, what have you done to it?
I get really passionate about it. You ruined everything. That's what I'm like.
You ruined it. But another favourite film of mine, and I've got to mention it because I've got a T-shirt on. If you can see it.
Oh, I was about to ask you, because it's telling me I've got 3 minutes left before because I'm a cheapskate. So I was going to say Dog Soldiers or American Werewolf in London, but you've answered the question.
Yes.
such an amazing. I'm sure you'd mentioned to me before about that. It's
Yeah,
such a
and
good.
again, I remember going to see that at the cinema in '81 and just being absolutely blown away by all of it. Again, they had everything. It's got comedy. You know, we
Yeah,
were saying earlier about comedy and horror, how they go together, and it's
perfectly put.
again, it's about werewolves. It's not serious, but there's these things are not real. It's that escapism, and I find that I can watch that film. I can put it on now and not be
Yeah,
bored all the time.
it's so good. It's so good. And
Yeah.
it's even got one of the highlights for me is the porn scenes in the cinema. Oh, that's my wife. That's my wife. I've never seen him before. Oh, sorry,
Oh,
wrong
sorry. Yeah,
house.
yeah,
Yeah. What's that about? Like, you know what I mean?
yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
I just love it. It's such a good film. Yeah. What's your favorite Hammer film? Hammer horror. I'm looking at the time.
Hammer. It's
I
got to
froze a
be
couple of questions at you.
it's got to be the Frankenstein films.
Oh,
The
good.
pushing in them. Yeah. No matter
Twins of
which one it
Evil.
was, just all of them. I used to love watching them and going, "All right, this is the next one. The next one, the stories." They kind of had this little loophole with Peter Cushing playing this character all the way through. If it wasn't the same
Amazing.
one, it was another
So good.
version of that character. Yeah.
So good. So good. Have you ever seen? I'll ask you this before we go. 2 minutes left. Have you ever seen London After Midnight? Is it London
No,
After Midnight?
after
No.
midnight.
It's what was I going to say about it? London After Midnight. No, my question's gone in my head. It's London After Midnight. I've I've seen it and I've now gone completely brain dead as to what I was going to say about it. It's really good. It's really good. It's
Message me,
got the guy in that Lon Chaney Jr. I believe it's
right?
Lon Chaney. Uh, it's really good film.
Right.
I
I
don't know
can't
where I
wait
was
to
going with that.
I can't wait to try find out about that one.
You need to find it. You need to find it, man.
Find
Well,
it,
it looks
find
like
it.
on that note of me, we've gone all the way through, and I've been professional all the way through, reasonably, and then at the end went blur, and that made no sense.
Just
But
another quick one.
yeah, go on.
This is the going talking
Oh,
about videos and everything. This is a video of the zombie flesh
wait,
eaters, but obviously its original title and uncut. And it's the first video that I bought off eBay. I got it for
really
a
cool,
10
man.
uncut, great copy because I'm really into trying to build my video collection up again with a
If
lot of
this
horror.
cuts out, I apologise. Let's
No,
admit, but
no
no, that's a
worries.
really good. Wait, I'd have to wrap it up. Thanks for chatting to me, Keith, and hopefully you'll do this again with me when I'm more professional.
It's
You're
great.
an
Thank you
absolute
very
diamond,
much.
dude.
Had a great
No,
time,
thank you.
pal.